Hi, my name is Ali Duran with Data Science and AI team here at IBM. Today I'm going to be talking about the new release of 2.0.39 and how you can upgrade from 2.0.38 of your Planning Analytics Workspace installation. The new features and updates are listed in our What's New in Planning Analytics Workspace page. If you go into Google and search for What's New in Planning Analytics Workspace, it's going to take you to this page. Within this page, you can see that all our upgrades that we do, all our updates that we do to our product are listed. Here's the current update. So now there's quite a few things that went into 2.0.39. We can talk about them in a later video, but the one key thing that I would like to focus on today is the new Planning Analytics Administration local. If you're a cloud customer, or if you have used or seen our cloud instances in the past, you have noticed that we had an administration solution on the cloud for Planning Analytics Workspace. However, we did not release this administration tool for local clients up until this release, this very release. There's a pretty good documentation on how to install and configure the Planning Analytics Administration agent. You can also find that link within that What's New in Planning Analytics Workspace page that we have posted. Today, mainly I'm going to show you how you can use your existing installation first of 2.0.38, upgrade to 2.0.39, also utilize your existing 2.0.6 installation of Planning Analytics and update your existing agent that is actually running in there. Now, what's this Planning Analytics Administration agent? If you have installed Planning Analytics 2.0.5 and up, these are the TM1 server versions. You can find it under your IBM installation. As you notice, I have quite a few of TM1 servers running in here. But the service that you're looking for is this one, IBM Planning Analytics Administration Agent. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see better. This is the agent that we run in order to be able to handle things that we do in Planning Analytics Workspace administration, as well as other parts of the Planning Analytics Workspace solution, such as you use a drag and drop functionality now for CSV files that you can upload data, you can upload metadata into Planning Analytics Workspace that is controlled by this very new Planning Analytics Administration agent. As well as any of the server monitoring solutions that we have, or downloading server log files directly from the server. They are all controlled through this administration agent in Planning Analytics Workspace. Okay, now that we know what the agent is, let's go ahead and take a look at our environment first. So in my installation, I have Planning Analytics or Workspace already installed, but I'm going to show you what I have here. I have, as you can see, 2.0.38. The first thing that we recommend here at IBM or here at the data science team, that before you do any upgrades, you should always do a backup of your solution. And for that, we have provided some PowerShell scripts that you can utilize, and those scripts reside under your installation directory. If I go to my E drive, for instance, it's under my 2.0.38 PAW directory, and then search for the scripts directory in there. You can see that there's quite a few of scripts that we have put together that you can utilize, like the backup for upgrade tool that we have that is listed in here. Now, what the backup or upgrade tool does is it backs up all the databases that we use inside Planning Analytics Workspace, where we house your books, your security, your bookmarks, or any of the communication that you do through our chat functionality that we have inside Planning Analytics Workspace are stored in these databases. We're essentially taking those databases and making a backup of them so you can move them to a new installation. And to run it, it's quite simple. You just run the script through here, /backup ps1, or the next one that we have is the upgrade, which is what I'm doing today. So I'm going to hit run, What this is doing is, right now, it's basically stopping all my containers that are inside Planning Analytics Workspace and running these backup processes. Now, if we want to take a more closer look, what it did is it created this backup directory, and within that backup directory, it's creating this folder called backup 2019 0308 09 53 15. And underneath that, you're going to start seeing more and more of these databases that it's zipping up as it continues to update, or as it continues to back up my existing Planning Analytics Workspace installation. Now, once this is complete, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take the directory, move it to our new instance, which is going to be Planning Analytics Workspace 2.0.39. I've downloaded from Fix Central. If you want to go to your Google again, and then search for Fix Central, and then within Fix Central, the product to select is IBM Planning Analytics Local. And then if you hit continue and say browse for fixes, what it will do is it's going to show you all the latest versions of the product that are released, and you can search them by release date, sort them by release date, so you can see what the latest versions of the products are. The first hit, as you can see here, is the Planning Analytics Workspace Local 2.0.39. This is the one that I have recently downloaded on my machine, as you can see here, using the download directory app. It takes a little bit, so I'm not going to make you wait through the download process, but I just wanted to show you where you can download it as well here. Now, once you download it, you need to extract it to a location where you feel more comfortable. For me, the best practice that I have come up with is to name my Planning Analytics Workspace installations based on their release numbers. So the last one I had was 2.0.38, so I have extracted all my files to 2.0.39 from my download location. Now, I'm also running out of space on my E drive, so I'm going to get rid of these old files that I have so that I gain a little bit more space while running my updates or upgrade on my Planning Analytics Workspace installation. Okay, let's go back to our PowerShell script. Looks like our backup is completed in 93 seconds, a little bit over a minute and a half, and all our processes have completed, and they're all starting back up again with the 38 after it finished the backup copy process. So if I go back to my E drive again, find my 2.0.38 installation backup directory, you will see that there's a total of 5 files created in here. There's one information file, backup for upgrade, bss.zip, couchdb, mongodb, and redis.zip. So these are all the databases that we essentially keep inside Planning Analytics Workspace to, like I mentioned earlier, handle all the requests that you send, all the books that you create, all the administration that you manage inside Workspace itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this directory, I'll just copy this. You can also copy it from the top if you prefer to, so we can do this so it becomes consistent with your installation. So I'll just move it over to here and then paste this directory in there. Okay. The next thing that I need to do is, before I upgrade, I would like to make sure that my configuration is carried over from Planning Analytics Workspace 2.0.38. For that, all I need to do is go into the configuration directory and take the paw.ps1 file, which is where we have all our configuration set up through our admin tool. That's where it's written. So I'm going to go back in here, into 39, paste it in there as well. So I have a copy of the WPS1. So if you're wondering what it looks like, for me, I'm using CAM Authentication. So it's basically telling me that I'm using the TM1 location IBM demos at 5895, application location is 9510, login server URL, if I was using TM1 authentication, would have been 12354 server. and then the authentication is done through Cognos, with Harmony LDAP being the namespace. Okay, so we're ready to do the upgrade. I'm going to go back to PowerShell script. I'm going to just go back to the previous directory that we're looking at just now, 2039. I'm in the PAW 2039 directory. Maybe we can do a little bit of a zoom in here. Okay, so I'm going to run the same command that we run all the time when we're doing the installations or upgrades with Planning Analytics Workspace. It's /start. And as I run that command, the screen asks me, do I want to install and update Planning Analytics Docker images, yes or no? For me, it's going to be yes. So now what it does is it now starts to update my Planning Analytics Workspace installation. I'm going to pause the video at this point. This is going to take me about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on your core power of your machine. It can take either less or more. But I don't want you to wait for me to finish up this, so once it's done, I'm going to continue with the video. Okay, let's continue with our recording. Looks like our installation is now complete. The PowerShell script is asking me if I want to start the administration tool. I'm going to hit enter to accept the starting of administration tool as well. Let's zoom out. So I'm going to move this one over here. Okay, so our administration tool is going to start now. It's going to use my default browser and run on 127.0.0.1. Normally, if you're running on localhost, in this case, I'm running it on a virtual machine, so it's going to pick up a virtual IP that it generates, 172.30.94.197, and it's going to give me 8888 port, which is where we run the administration tool. Now, once the administration tool starts, even with upgrades, updates, or a new installation, you have to accept the license agreement, both for IBM license and any of the non-IBM software that we have within the product itself. So I hit accept. Okay. Now, if you remember, we copied the paw.ps1 file, which is where we have all our configuration. Since I copied that file over, what it did is it picked up all my settings automatically, so I don't have to redo them one more time. But if I hadn't had that file and this was my first time installing it, these would have been filled with just sample content that you can actually fill out later on. Okay, so my content is filled up, so I'm going to just hit validate as you would normally do. It's going to find the servers, it's going to find my admin server, application server if it's defined. I'm currently not using an application server in this server. And then the BI dispatcher URI and then the BI authentication namespace ID are also authenticated or validated, so we're good. So I'm going to hit update in here, say OK. What the system is going to do now is it's going to update all my containers, start them one more time, making sure that everything is up and running. This process could take a little bit. You're going to also see another pop-up here saying refreshing status afterwards popping up in here while systems are starting. But the key thing that I have found out to check this easily is going to be looking at the task manager. By looking at the task manager, you can see that your CPU is running at a greater pace now. There's going to be a lot of Java applications and the Docker application basically taking up your CPU. Depending on the type of your machine, my machine that I'm running this one on doesn't have a lot of memory or core power, but the ones that you're running on might have a lot more. So you're going to be seeing less of the CPU usage, but in my case, once the CPU usage comes down to a more reasonable state, after running all of these services, starting all these services, you will notice that your your CPU status will go down to about 10 to 15% or 25%, and then the services will be started afterwards. Now, up until then, you won't be able to access Planning Analytics Workspace. If you try to access Workspace, you'll potentially get a page where it says services currently not available. Now, if we try it now, as you can see right now here, Planning Analytics Workspace is unavailable. Try again in a few minutes, it's popping up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this one more time and wait for all my services to start. Once all the Workspace services are started, we're going to continue our installation again. Okay, my CPU went down to 8 to 10% range now, so it looks like all my services have started for Planning Analytics Workspace. On the back end, as you can see, my login page now appeared, and from my login page, I can use my username and password to log in to Planning Analytics Workspace. Looks like my books are all up and running, or are imported from the previous implementation as well of 2.0.38 to 39. And at this point, I don't have to do much. We can do troubleshooting or check anything if there's something not showing up in here in this section, but looks like all my books, all my directories are now provided or migrated. I'm going to also look at the version number here to make sure that I'm on the right version. It looks like it's 2.0.39. Now the other thing that you're going to notice in here is that now we have a new menu called Administration. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at the Administration menu real quick, see what we have in there. As you can see from the installation as of 5 minutes ago that we have done, you can see that all my servers are in here now. Now this is our new administration page. I can control all my servers through here, start, stop services, take a look at the threads block, memory usage, essentially all the information that you would need for your servers are in this page. You can actually go in further to take a look at the status of each individual server itself. You can see who is on that server, what threads are running, is there any wait states, is there any other states that are in that server. If there's a long-running query, you can always start, stop services, cancel the threads, disconnect the users. Additional options you can have here is to download the log files that are associated with that with specific servers that you're looking for or you're looking at. You can see the memory usage and other CPU usage percentages, as well as the threads blocked on this server as well in this quick page. Now, one thing you're going to notice here at the bottom of my screen though is my version. Here it says 1036.736. This is the version that came with the 206 installation, and there's an update to the agent that we need to apply. So I'm going to go through that update so you can see how it's done as well. So for me to be able to get the new updates in that documentation page that we were looking at earlier, let's find that documentation page here. Okay, so they configure the agent for Windows using Planning Analytics Local, Planning Analytics Administration Agent right there. Let's take a look at that one. So, yes, where do I find the administration dashboard? Well, we have the administration dashboard. Where do I find the file to download is the section that we're looking for. It's under the download section. Okay, so if I go to Workspace back again, from Workspace, there's a section here called Downloads here. Once you click on the Downloads, you're going to see that the PAA agent downloads is available. Update to the 39, that's the latest, and the version we have is 36. And then you can also see there's that link here that will take us to that same location where we were looking at earlier for the installation guide as well. Okay, so I'm going to download this new version 39 PAA agent package, save file, Okay, where do I want to download it? I'm going to download it on the E drive under my installs directory, because that's where I keep all my installs file until I delete them later on. Okay, so I downloaded the file in there. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the directions in here. So it says, okay, go ahead and download the file. When prompted, save the compressed folder to the location of your choice, which is what we have done. And then extract the compressed folder to a temporary location, open a command window, and change it to the directory where you extracted the compressed folder. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go in here on my E drive, installs directory. There's my files, so I'm going to say extract all. We'll use that same directory in there. Okay, here's my Kate agent for the PAA. Command plus, that's the code name that was used for this project, and then update PAA agent.bat file is what I'm going to need since I'm running on a Windows machine. Now if I was running on a Linux machine, then obviously I would be running the update PAA agent.sh file. Okay, so I'm going to run that file, but for me to run it, it says here that I need to be going into command prompt. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be running a command prompt in here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and run command prompt here. Okay, so the directory that I had earlier, that's the directory that we have. So I'm going to copy this one over. I'm going to say, okay, change directory to that, and then change to E drive. Here is my directory that I have the file in. So the one that I need to run is update PAA agent, but there's a way to run it. It says you need to run put the full path of to where your PA install location and PA agent is residing. That the PA agent is residing in quotation marks if it contains spaces. Okay, so that's one thing we're going to have to do. So I'm going to go back to that command prompt and use the tab key to find where that process is. Here's that update.agent.batch file. So we're going to load it under that PA install location. So where's my PA install location? So let's go find that as well. So under the E drive, program files, IBM, Cognos, TM164, and then under the PAA agent. Okay, so we'll copy this one, copy, okay, and then I'll paste it over here, and then close my double quotes, hit enter. Okay, as you can see, it says the directory is not found at the PA installation directory, because what we need to do is actually we need to take out this PA agent and then hit enter. Okay, because it's actually looking for the root directory for where that PA agent is. Okay, it took a split second, as you can see, and it copied over the temp file, started or copied over some additional files that it requires to update the services, and it has done an installation of Planning Analytics agent for 1.0.39.931. Okay, so if at this point, if I go back to Planning Analytics Workspace, and let's say that I logged out, remember our version was 36. Now, I'm assuming that the version still is going to say 36 in there. Oh, et voila, the 39 is already picked up. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to clear my cache, because that's usually something that I would do. I haven't cleared my cache, the version already picked up. Now all I need to do is make sure that I have my next step taken care of, which is going to be the notifications. Now, Planning Analytics Workspace Administration Solution, one thing that comes with it is the ability to be able to send notifications to your administrators in case something is going completely wrong with your server. What could this be? It could be a thread that is running long, that is blocking other users for some reason. It's not parallel executing. A server might be down, or somebody shut it down by mistake and you need to get notifications for it. There are some wrong running queries that you weren't expecting them to run that long, but they're still continuing to run. So those are all the things that you can get notifications for. And the setup for that is done through here. There's a configuration section on the top right hand corner, as you can see. I'm going to click on that configuration section. And there are quite a few configurations you can do in here. You can hide and show the databases for the admin users if you don't want them to stop services or see them through this page. You can run auto refresh rate or time that you would like to define. For 60 seconds it's refreshing. You can lower it or increase that time. The thresholds, you can define the thresholds for what you think is going to be critical or concern. In this case, I have the block threads numeric at critical after 10. Just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to take it down to 1, and it's going to be critical after 2. And then the configuration CPU usage, if it's more than 2%, I'm going to say that is critical. And then the configuration memory usage, it's right now 50 to 60%. Let's lower that down to 5%, for instance, 5 to 7%. And then if I have any issues there, then we can get notifications. Now the alerts page. Within the alerts page, you're going to see that there's going to be the databases that we open. Now the first time you open, you might be running into this. It says something went wrong. There's an internal error in here and all of that. So what I found out that if you select all in here and then just deselect, all of that content just starts populating by itself. Now in my case, I have the car sales, demo guide, go scorecards, and smart code. These are the servers that are up and running right now that I can utilize or set up notifications for. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see better. So I'm going to lower these down significantly so that when something happens, I can get some notifications. So the server that I'm going to be using is going to be here. So I'll just show you. Let me zoom out first. Okay, so I have a Mozilla Thunderbird and another open source solution that you can utilize for mail services. The connection was refused, and says it's saying. So that's why I need to go into my services and check if my SMTP server is running. I also have another service in here that I'm utilizing called HMail. I'm going to start that service again. This is basically my SMTP service that I'm using, just set up for this server, just for notifications. Now, Planning Analytics Administration Agent comes with a mail service for you as well, but most companies that you will be working with or you are working with today has their own SMTP servers, and those are what you're going to be needing to use. And you can use some SMTP relays basically on the server that you're running Planning Analytics Administration Agent in order to be able to communicate with these. Now we also provide an option for you. It's a Java SMTP service that we provide. You can find it under here, install and configure administration service. And then if you go into the configure event notifications in here, so you can see that there's an option to install a Java service in here. Now if you don't have an SMTP server on your end, if you don't have a relay service that you have defined, and then you can potentially utilize this solution as well. This is not required, but it's an optional solution that you can use if you prefer to use a Java mail solution that is provided by us without any charges. Okay, so the next things I'm going to do is going to be not only setting up my server, so that it has some issues. So I'm going to create some issues with the server so that I can at least see if the notification service is going to work accurately. And also set up my SMTP service so that it picks up those email notifications that Planning Analytics Administration agent is going to be sending to myself. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go back to Planning Analytics Administration agent. Okay, so we have the configuration set up already. So the database configuration for car sales is something, or the alerts for car sales is something that I want to set up. Okay, so I'm going to do another select all in here, and then just select the car sales. And then the memory usage, I'm going to take it down to 1%, threads waiting 1 second, and threads in run state 1 minute, and data responsive for 1 second, or let's do 5 seconds, notify the user. Apparently the minimum is 10, so we'll stick with 10. Database shutdown, chore quit, those are all going to be notifications that I'm going to be receiving. Now, if I hit apply, as you can see, there's a please enter at least one email ID. It says the email ID I have is ali@ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com. It's a fake email that I set up on this fake SMTP server. ali@ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com. So I'll hit apply. Okay, so we have an email set up in here. So I'll do car sales, and then let's do the demo guide as well. Let's do 1% here, 1%, 1 second there, 1 minute there. And then I'm going to use this one to database shutdown. So we'll do the same here, ali@ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com. Now in North America, most of the phone companies have email to cell phone services, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, all of those do. Then you can utilize those to send those notifications to your cell phone as well as mail services. You can look them up in Google and find out what mail service your system is using, and you can also utilize those as well. Something to keep in mind. Alright, so I hit apply, so that's all set. Now notifications will be sending over if I break anything on my server, or if I do something that I'm not supposed to be doing. But we haven't set up the SMTP service yet, so let's go ahead and do that. Event notifications, where do we set it up? It says there's a file or folder in Planning Analytics Administration Agent, and there's a file called Bootstrap for SMTP notifications. The location of that file is in one of these documents in here, but just so you know, it's going to be here. Under E drive, for me, I have my TM1 server installed on the E drive. Now you're looking at TM1 server, not the Planning Analytics Workspace installation. TM1 server, program files, IBM, Cognos, TM164. I'll find the PA agent, it's right there. WLP, and then under WLP, you're going to find the user, servers, Kate agent, and there's your Bootstrap properties file. Now notice I have two files in here. There's one that says bootstrap properties.new. That's the new file that comes with Bootstrap. It's blank. You can use it for anything you would like to do. You can update this one, change the other one. This is your backup Planning Analytics Workspace Bootstrap properties, or Planning Analytics Administration Bootstrap properties file. The one that I'm using is going to be here, the Bootstrap properties file that was generated already. All right, so I'm going to zoom into this one. Okay, so we can see what changes that I'm going to do on this properties file. All right, so there are a couple things that I want to change in here. The key thing that I need in here is the mail services, and what we need to put in for mail services. As you can see, there's some that are set up in here, but I'm missing quite a bit of the settings files or settings itself. So I'm going to look at the Bootstrap properties new file, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of documents in here, or quite a bit of settings in here that I need to utilize, like these guys in here, SMTP properties. So I'm going to copy these over and then paste them in here. Okay. All right, so let me zoom out a little bit first and then zoom back in here. Okay, so the email port is the first thing that I'm going to do. The email port that I'm using, and this is very common in most companies, it's going to be 25 is the email port that I use on this server. Now, how do you know if 25 is currently being listened? That's going to be a good question to ask. The key thing to find out is if you run a netstat in here, with netstat you can find out which ports are being listened, and if you want to also find out the actual port that is listening for 25, so I'm going to do a zoom in here so you can see. So it's netstat-na, I'm going to use the pipe sign in here and then do find double quotes and then the colon sign, and then 25 is the port that I'm looking for. And then if there's anything listening on this, if there's any server SMTP server listening to port 25, there should be a response in here. Yep, as you can see, I have a response in here that is TCP 0025 is being now listened on this server. So that's good. So that means that we have an SMTP service that is being running on this server, which is what I've been running as I showed you earlier, the HMail open source solution. All right, so SMTP services are being listened, and then the next thing that I need to do is the SMTP email authentication. So some companies require this, others don't. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see. In my case, since this is a server that I'm using for myself only, I don't have any authentication requirements in there, but this might be a true or a false. The next one I have is the email host. The email host in here I have is the IBM demo.demos.ibm.com. That's the email host that I'm using on this server. The email start TLS enable. If you have this at your company, there's a good settings documentation at the back. Let's go back to that documentation to see how you can enable the TLS certificate. So there's a key to import process as well that is defined in here. So you'll be using this one. Now in my case, I'm not using TLS, so I don't need to set that up. So I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to say email start TLS enable is going to be false for me. Okay. So next one I have is the SMTP email username. For that I'm using Ali. And then for the SMTP email password, we're using IBM demos. Okay, so the final thing I need to do is where this email is coming from. Now this is already filled up with a generic email notification email in here. The one that I need to use for myself is Ali at ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com. Okay, so we're all set. So it looks like I've set up my SMTP email properties. I have set up the authentication as false. Email host is ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com. TLS enable is false. SMTP email username is Ali. SMTP email password is IBM demos. Now all I need to do at this point is to save my file, and I'm going to close this file. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart that Kate agent from my services. Again, if I look for the IBM section in here, under IBM, it's going to be IBM Planning Outage Administration Agent. Restart that. Okay, so the agent is restarting, but while it's restarting, what it's doing is it's updating that file as well. So if I go back in there into the Bootstrap properties file now that I just generated, 11:09 a.m. again, so edit with Notepad, you're going to see that all the changes that I have done, the system actually took them and placed them into the locations that it actually wants them to be in. So you can see that my SMTP email authentication went up to here, SMTP email host went down to here, email start TLS. So it automatically generates and figures out where it wants those settings to appear inside this Bootstrap properties file as well. So you don't have to worry about it. Okay. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there are any messages in there. Again, there's no messages. There's the Thunderbird's first original message that it comes with when you first set it up. There's no email notifications. But we have set up our email notification now, and let's see if we've set it up accurately. So to test it, I'm going to run a couple I'm going to create some issues for the server itself. Let's zoom out a little bit here so we can see. Okay, so I'm going to do a short zoom, and then we'll go to car sales here, and then within car sales I'm going to add a few processes in here. Let's call it sleep 1. Let's call this sleep 1. Okay, and I'm going to say script. And then within the script in here, I'm going to say sleep for 50 seconds, I guess. 500,000, did I make milliseconds? Okay, so we'll save this one. And then I'm going to add another one in here. Create process, and then we'll call this sleep 2. And then we'll create this one and script. We'll copy the script over here. I'm going to make this one sleep for another 6. Save it. And in the meantime, I'm going to start these processes so they can run concurrently. While they're running though, I'm going to make something that you shouldn't be doing, which is I'm adding a process that is running into a chore. We'll call this my sleep chore, create, and then I'm going to say let's go ahead and add a process in there. I'm going to add sleep 1, add, and save it. Okay, like I said, I'm going to start giving this server a lot of issues, and one of them that I had was to add a new chore while a TI process is running. I added a new chore that uses that same TI process, and as a result, I start seeing some emails coming into my notification folder. And here's the first one that we have received. It says, okay, so there's a block thread right now in this server called car sales. You might want to go check that one out. Okay, so if we go to our administration tool now, you're going to see that there's a threads blocked in car sales. The sign changed to yellow or orangish color. And right now we can see that there's an issue going on with that server on that server. Now I'm going to do another one. Before I do that though, I would like to check the configuration one more time to make sure that I have it in there. So under alerts, demo guide is the one that I'm going to check. And let's make sure that we have, okay, so I have the Ali at ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com selected. We'll do another one here, Ali at ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com. Let's apply this one as well. And then we'll do one for SmartCo, Ali at ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a simple stop service to these servers. Of course, I had to save it. Let's do that one more time. See if I can copy it. Ali at ibmdemo.demos.ibm.com. As you can see, my service is still running behind the scenes. I'm getting more and more issues behind the scenes from the server itself. I'll go back in here, making sure that these are all applied. Okay, So I have demos guide, Go scorecard, and Smart Go all set up to receive notifications or for. Okay, I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to continue with stopping these services that are running on this server. Right now, as you can see, my server is just started to act really strange, as you can tell, because I'm sure there's a lot of memory usage right now in there. Yep, as you can see, their CPU cores are increasing, memory is increasing, and I'm just giving a lot more stop requests to the server. Okay, so now if we go back to our notification pages in here, you can see that I have already 4 new notifications that came through. The first one was for that block threads. Again, the threads are still continuing to block. As you can see on the bottom of my page, I'm still getting more notifications. The one that I have initiated are here. So shutdown has been initiated for demo guide. Another shutdown was initiated for Go scorecard, and here's another shutdown that was initiated for the Smart Go server. So as you can see, you continuously get these notification messages coming from the Planning Analytics Workspace and Planning Analytics TM1 servers, and you'll be able to monitor your server as well as the health of your TM1 instances more closely and accurately. This was the first phase that I wanted to cover with you. I hope you liked it, and if you have any questions, please feel free to post a comment under these videos, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.